Hello everyone, just want to welcome you back to the Simple Prepper. Now, I did want to show you, I did say I would show you when I got my own EMP Shield product, so I wanted to show you. This one goes in my car and I have it hooked up to the battery for negative positive, and the chassis ground lead goes to chassis. And I just trimmed it out a little bit nicer so that people can see it that ride in my car. I drive Uber at nighttime, and this way they can actually put a finger on it when they're riding in the back seat there, and they ask me what is this. So I get to tell them, and then I have my little card on the right side with coupon code and with YouTube channel. So I put this on the header board that used to be for my partition, and so you see I have the wire coming up here. Let me go to another video here. Shows you where I routed it. It stopped. Hold on. Routed it down. Inside here was some other wiring for my UVC lights that I used during the pandemic to sanitize in between rides. So I did that and did this to where, yep, they can see it in the back. Let me go back up here. Show to the back where the riders are. And there it is. But that's the one for a car I got. I got the micro model because I didn't want people to bump their head when they're trying to get in right there. They put their head real close to that header board. And, plus it looks a little bit more tidy being in a small case. I believe it's somewhere same as some say electronic guts inside of it as their main vehicle module. But this is a metal case. It does cost more, but I got a good deal on it during their New Year's special, along coupled with my coupon code. So they do that. Couple my coupon code as an affiliate with any specials they're running. So make sure when they're running specials, take advantage of that. But I don't know when the next one's going to be. It may be Memorial Day. It may be a while. Don't know. I don't know how often they're going to run those specials. But nevertheless, I did get the one for my vehicle. And of course, this is showing just a picture of where a nuclear explosion would be up above the atmosphere, and the gamma rays come down against the ionosphere, and where we have ionization in our atmosphere. It would hit those particles and act like the gamma rays from a solar flare hitting, across our Earth and our atmosphere. It would free up those electrons and cause a pulse down to the Earth. So it's sort of a image, and shows you, basically the higher it is, the more line of sight over the curvature of the Earth you have. So let's go. Here's the two vehicle modules they have. They have the standard one. It's about $60 less. And this is the micro version. And the reason why they made this encased in a small metal case, it costs more for the metal case, but it's small enough to fit on also motorcycles, ATVs, personal watercraft, like boats, that sort of thing. And you see it's got the 3 leads. You got your negative and hot or positive for the battery for the DC 12 volt version here, and the green one goes to chassis. They say don't cut these short. I know it's probably in this chassis ground. They want to keep the length of wire on it that it needs to be. But the others, just roll them up, whatever slack you got, and you can install it in your engine compartment somewhere close to the battery. And also green to the chassis, to a ground bolt on the chassis. So something to do with the length of the wires there helps to dissipate along with it being ground on the chassis. to still shunt that to ground on the overvoltage pulse. But anyway, they got the ones made, for a home. Different home versions to go with your breaker box, main breaker. But this is the one I got. So I got the RV model. It's good for renters. And I plugged it into the wall. And basically it does the same thing with basically 3 wires. Only 120 volt operation on this one, AC. So what you get is you got the 120 volt AC, you got the neutral line, and then the ground goes to the earth ground plug in your electric plug. And anything that comes through over that whole phase of your box within 250 feet of wiring is going to be shunted to ground. I mean, if a pulse comes through, it'll shunt it to ground, to the earth ground on the wall plug. So it picks it up from the electrical system and shunts that over voltage over the electric wires, come into here and back to ground. But it'll also do the same thing with what power strip it has to. But it's not just protecting things on the power strip part of it. It protects that whole one phase that is plugged into whatever zone that's breakered on in your breaker box. That whole 120 volt leg of the 240 that's coming in. So you got two 120s coming into your breaker box. And most RVs, a lot of them are only set up with a 120 volt, one leg only. So that's why this is good for that. Or you can get 2 of them and protect a whole apartment or house that you're renting, and there's no invasive install. However, sorry, I'm digressing into sales. You might check this out later, pause on it, I'll zoom it up. You got 3 parts of a EMP that happen within seconds. So the first 2 parts, E1 and 2, can happen within, goodness, in less than a second, but may take 5 to 500 seconds for the E3 part, where the nuclear blast sort of mess with the Earth's magnetic field and it's resettling. And it's a lower pulse, longer duration current that will be reflected from the Earth's magnetic field resettling after that nuclear blast in the upper atmosphere. But anyway, we got this illustration I found also. This sort of shows how the E3 part of it works with the resettling. Expanding fireball expels magnetic field, distorting field lines, and that has to resettle after the blast. And you get those gamma rays from the blast over line of sight coverage over that section of the Earth that the explosion happens. Okay, another one for you to look at later. Come back, pause on it. Okay, now I had to look at my breaker box and be able to see which leg was where, and they didn't label things very well on here for which side was which. So you got my 240 coming in, the 2 legs, 2 120 volt legs, and one jumpers across for one side and one stays on one side. And then you get the hookups with the way each breaker's set up, where these 2 right here are on this leg, 100 amp breakered leg coming in, one phase, and you see this from a water heater here. Now on the other phase right here is with this. So you got this coming straight across. See where my cursor is? straight across. I have another page that I photographed that sort of drew some red coloring in with the joining legs from one side to the other. It's just the way they make the breaker boxes. Almost make it where electricians got to figure it out. Not easy. So what you got to do is figure out what's on the same leg. So this right across from here with these two minis are on this one leg. Two below it, the other leg, same thing. These up here on the same leg as these two down here where my cursor is, and it goes across, and these are on the same. So every other is the other leg, or every other two mini breakers, shall we say. And then down here you got one that's just set up on one leg, and actually that's feeding my detached garage. We got, this is on the other leg coming over, so you got one leg of the 120 and the other 120 right here. This is for my air conditioner down here, I found out. So some of them weren't labeled properly for what bedroom's what in my house when they first set this up, and they made it where you had to turn off all the breakers, turn one on at a time to see which one it is, like living room, kitchen lights, outside, etc. Let me go to the next picture. Here we go. So we got this one phase, the red. I just say red. How about say blank color in there? Okay, so these are on red, and then every other is on red, and the ones in between are on the no color. So you got the 240 for the electric clothing dryer right here. Dryer and dryer is split between the red and non-color there because the two different legs. Got two 120 legs to make the 240 volt for its output, and it has an appropriate plug for a 240 volt plug at the dryer. The washer only needs one, some people call it 110, 115, 120, whatever, 120 volt. But so I had to figure out where I was going to plug this RV module into, and I had to figure out what are more sensitive electronics that we want to protect the most on are located. And so it happens one of the bedrooms my wife uses for her office and computer is on the same leg, or actually the same breaker for some reason, as the north living room wall. So north living room, Nikki office, see right there, it's coming off this 15 right here. So this is where we have it plugged in, and of course one leg of the water heater will be protected, but see, gas furnace, yes, confirm that. Let's see, dishwasher, yeah, it's on the same. We got one leg of the dryer, but we got number 2 south part of the kitchen is on this circuit breaker right here. Too bad our microwave's not plugged into the same leg as far as the breaker for it. It'd be nice to have that working still after EMP. Of course, master bedroom's on the other leg. Let's see, Nikki office, we got that. Oh, well, we do have the garage, and things I plug into the garage that have some sort of computer or microprocessors in them will be protected. Okay, I'm going to go back all the way to the first picture because I didn't show you. There we go. I plugged it into the wall, the RV model into the wall. Yeah, this looks a little messy right now. I want to go ahead and mount this since it has holes on the boxes for screws and mounting. I'd love to mount that on the wall right here, and for now it's plugged in, operable, doing its thing. Let me go back to where I was. Okay. I wanted to show a little bit more about solar storm or possible sunspot activity from the sun. And of course, we're on a rise and almost to a peak. Almost another 2 years we'll be at a peak. And it'll start falling away in about 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, into a lull spot again, and I won't have as much flare activity, and some of our weather patterns will probably follow the same like it does every 11, 12 years, or 10 to 12 years. End up getting within this time period here in Central Texas area more a little bit of snow and some different ice storms. Somehow it falls almost even at 10 to 13 years, right in there. Depends on the rise, but we'll end up having that 12 years ago. Even today, we had snow, or to the month anyway, we had snow that I got photos of. Got some nice pictures of snow on the railroad tracks and stuff, but you know, we had a lot of ice in the same time frame with a bad ice storm, freezing precipitation that hurt a lot of our trees and knocked out power lines. And Central Texas here, Austin area was affected pretty bad. There's still people without power right now from the beginning of that thing. You probably heard on the news, but we have people from all over the state, different linemen and tree trimming people that work for lineman companies, cutting away trees that are on down power lines, and those lineman electricians helping us out. Somehow they got something working with them to be able to have them down here, and grateful for their help in getting everybody with power back on. Let's see. Oh, nice EMP Shield logo on the last one. How about that? Okay, so I just want to show you that. Yeah, you got all these images on here, a little video showing about where I mounted the vehicle unit, and images, and of course the RV model. So yes, I did get them. I didn't lie to you. I ordered them, yes, without my wife knowing at first, so it was a little big of expense, and that's why I was holding out on showing you, so she wouldn't see right away. But everything is resolved. I only got the 2 of them for now, and if we can afford more later, then we'll get them. But at least we have our vital electronics protected. You know, one vehicle, the one that we have two-way communications in, as far as the CB radio and other electronics. It's got built-in offline navigation built into this radio. The other car we don't. So just little things that help on those electronics and having an operable vehicle if an EMP happens. So just wanted to be able to share this with you guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about it. But yes, I did get them, and I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead of you. Hopefully I can get some more videos up soon. I want to show more about two-way radio. Once I get some new fishing line, I will I will show restringing my fishing line. That's one thing on your fishing pole, rod and reels, as a prep for being able to catch your own fish in some of the water areas, you know, little ponds and streams and stuff. You need to be able to keep some of that gear handy. It may help you survive if you don't have access to other food or proteins, and if you can't be in an area where you can hunt, especially like say with firearms, or even with bow and arrow. Generally it's a pretty passive thing to be able to go fish and catch some food. So yeah, I need to keep my line fresh on there. It's been a few years in the sitting in the hot to cold garage on some of the monofilament fishing line is getting old and stiff and maybe getting brittle. So have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.